Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
34 years of age, not so junior. 13 years of pro, started with Mick Hennessy, racked up a few wins. 18-0, took on the 20-0 Billy Joe Saunders, lost a split decision. That's for the European, Commonwealth and British titles at 160. He won a WBA interim belt with Frank Warren, had a little spell with Eddie Hearn. Was on the cusp of getting the Triple G fight that fell apart, depending on what source you believe. Kell Brook stole the fight from Chris, or Eubank Sr. was a little difficult to deal with.
They're happy. The only people who seem to be a little bit shaky is Sky. If this fight doesn't happen, it's because of Sky. Eddie's done his job. We are ready to sign. Sky have to actually make sure the deal works for Britain's British champion. Would you say that's fair to say, Billy?
Yeah.
And there you have it.
I would say, as in all deals, everybody's got to be happy.
Everyone's going to be happy. He says everyone has to be happy. The first dollar should always drop to the fighter. That's how I'm going to change the game. You know, it should not be the broadcaster first and the fighter second. God forbid, the broadcaster first and then the promoter. No, the fighter should be the first person to get the first dollar that drops. Nothing unreasonable about that. And so here is the deal. The deal is, if the first dollar that drops comes to Junior, that fight will sign. If Sky say they want the first dollar, they're the ones who are going to be killing this deal. Is that fair to say? This is the man to back.
Is there a deadline?
48 hours. 48 hours.
No, if it's not done in 48 hours, it won't happen.
Cool.
But we want to sign. It's all in the hands of Sky. And so, for all you aficionados, you fans, petition Sky to make this deal happen.
Why are you being quiet about this one?
I'm not talking. I mean,
is what Chris saying right?
Why are you smashing your chin?
Because not all of what he says is right.
Tell me what's wrong in what I'm saying then.
Because there is a policy and a deal in place. You're trying to change that, and I understand that, and that's why we'll have our meeting on Monday. But
it's not that I'm trying to change it. Look, you know,
in fact,
who takes the risk?
The fact is that the bottom line is that the fight is there, and if you want it, you can have it.
But no, we are ready to. We will sign on Monday. Sky are the. But, that's what the meeting's going to be about.
Well, we'll see what happens Monday. The deal is there. It's ready to go.
Put the pressure, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put the pressure on Sky to sign the deal. Give Junior, listen, they've got to back him. He's the one taking the risk.
Are you saying you want more money from Sky? What are you saying?
No.
What is it?
Actually, the first dollar that drops should be to Junior.
Put Nick Blackwell out of commission in a British title fight when he stopped Nick in 10. Nick had to be treated for bleeds on the brain after he collapsed in the ring. Another attempted fight with Billy Joe Saunders collapsed. Once again, the Eubanks were accused of being difficult to work with by Frank Warren. Frank said he'll never work with Chris Sr. again. I don't know about Junior. Struck a little deal with ITV and Fox Sports, won the IBO title, defended it, then got involved in the WBSS tournament, knocked out Avni Yildirim, and then got eliminated on points by George Groves. Them fights were on the WBSS. Then there was the little spell with the PBC, one fight to be exact. PBC, Fox Sports and ITV had a multiple fight deal in the UK, but the box office flopped against the girl, which Chris won on points. Chris was inactive for a little while, then he came back and fought Matt Kobroff at the Barclays Centre on a PBC card. Then he was very inactive again, returned to the UK on a Matchroom card. Didn't look too impressive, trained by Roy Jones, didn't look like a good fit. Won a 10-rounder. Then he hooked up with the Sowlands. 3 fights on Sky. The first against Liam Williams, promoted by the Sowlands, won that. Then he was looking at this big money spinner with Conor Benn. Fell through when Conor Benn popped for clofamine. That was late 2022. In 2023, you had the Liam Smith fights, the two Liam Smith fights. The first in which he was stopped, and then he avenged that loss with a stoppage with himself in 2023. So he declared he was a free agent the other month, and now he's signed with Boxer and Benn Shalom. He's been through a lot of promoters, a whole load, a lot of trainers. For the most part, had no trainer. He's made money though. He's won a few moody world titles, we'll say, the IBO and the WBA interim. But at 34 years of age, what's going on? Is he next up for Canelo? Because I don't see him winning that fight. And that deal could be dead in the water after one fight. He's currently 33, 3-0, 24 inside the distance. His dad revealed that Junior asked him to leave his training setup, so he's no longer with his old man. So he's regrouped, set up with Benn Shalom, looking for them big fights, he says, against the likes of Canelo. Canelo's going to give him a beating, a bad beating. It's going to be savage. And talking about Terence Crawford, well, Benn Shalom hasn't really created no stars at Boxer. It's early days though. He hasn't been promoting that long. A lot of people say, oh, Ben hasn't did nothing. He hasn't been there that long. Riakporhe was supposed to be the face of boxing. He didn't show up for his title shot against Billion. Lawrence Okoli was supposed to be the face. He didn't show up. Let's see what Joshua Boatsi can do on the 21st of September. In fact, Chris Billiam Smith, who wasn't mentioned to be the face at no stage, has been the success story of Benn Shalom so far. Chris Eubank is a marquee name because of the association with his old man. The amount of British fighters who want to fight Eubank, it always comes up, I want to fight Chris Eubank. Hamza Sheeraz wanted that fight. And we thought that could have been the middleweight title fight on the 21st of September on the AJ Dubois undercard. But instead we've got Hamza versus Tyler Denny. Very, very good fight. I wonder what Tyler Denny thinks now Eubank's there. I don't think Benn Shalom will be able to get him a Eubank fight, despite them being on the same promotional outlet. I don't see that. Obviously, as his old man said, Chris is a money man. All boxers box for money in the pros. His dad also called him a bling boy. And apparently he's got a poker habit. And at 34, and him being so inactive as he has in the last 5 years, he might feel reinvigorated right now with his new deal. And you know you get that pragmatic shit on this channel more than any other. Have we seen the best of Chris Eubank Jr. is the question. Benn Shalom will be hoping not. Benn Shalom will be hoping that he's got a little something that he can produce. If Ben can nail that Canelo Eubank fight for Sky Sports, even if it's on at an ungodly hour, it'll be a huge coup for Benn Shalom, a huge feather in his cap. Eubank has had one title shot against George Groves, fumbled the bag. That was a fight a few people thought he could win. He didn't get there. Some people say he's had a decent career. Some people look at him as a hype job. I wouldn't say he was a hype job. Not a hype job. Because he came in the pros not expected to do nothing. There's lots of relatives of famous boxers who haven't did shit in the game. So don't just pick him apart because his dad is famous. He at least has been able to market himself to make money and make it viable financially. And been in some big fights, even without nailing that big world title fight. He's fell short. At elite level, there's no doubt about that. He's definitely fell short. Doesn't necessarily mean he's a hype job, though. If Liam Smith can look impressive against Josh Kelly, a rubber match between the two could be very interesting. Could be very interesting. It will more than likely be on a Riyadh card because Liam is not working with Benn Shalom. That's for sure. That's for sure. He let his feelings know about that. Looking at the Canelo and PBC situation, free fight deal. Beat up Jamel Charlo, who put up enough resistance to go the distance, but not much more. And I think because Jamel looks so similar to his brother, the optical illusion of putting his brother in the ring is a no-no. It's not going to happen. Basically, Jamel's killed that fight for Jamal. And Jamal, you know, he's been inactive and he's probably hasn't had a decent win since 2020. So that's one fight down. 2 left. Mexican Monster, he's not getting the fight. He moved up to 175, moved back down to 168, hoping for the Canelo fight, but no. You're going to have to give up some weight, some rehydration weight or catch weight to get that Canelo fight. It's as simple as that. So basically, all their options have been left outside the PBC. What in-house fight can Al Heyman sell with Canelo? There's none. David Benavidez is a no-go. Jamal Charlo a no-go. David Morrell 175. Canelo weren't going to take that one anyway. So they went for Jaime Munguia, fellow Mexican, popular Mexican, a DAZN fighter. Shared the platform, Amazon Prime and DAZN. And now the two options we're looking at is Edgar Berlanga, DAZN, which would be another shared platform, and Chris Eubank Jr., who's just signed with Sky. So they're having to outsource these Canelo fights to make it viable. What does that say about their future? Shakur Stevenson needs to look at fluctuations like that before making a decision, because I'm hearing that he could sign with the PBC or TMT.
Do they even have a broadcasting deal? Well, in all truth, I prefer him to sign with Floyd than go back and re-sign with Bob Arum.
So how real is the prospect that we're going to get Canelo versus Eubank? When I don't hear no one from the A side saying that it's a possibility, I'm going to stay a little skeptical. I'm not sure. Because as much as Jamal Charlo's stock has dropped in the USA, he's still a bigger draw in the US than Eubank Jr. And I doubt they're going to hold a fight in the UK. I tell you what, man, after this PBC deal, I don't think Canelo will be holding any networks to ransom. I really don't think he will. He's going to have to talk to Turki Al-Sheikh if he wants them huge paydays after this PBC thing, because he got 35 million up front for the Jaime Munguia fight. They're saying it sold between 500 and 550,000. I don't do maths. Is that a success? But I don't think the Chris Eubank fight will draw any more than that 550,000. You know, Edgar Berlanga, people are talking about, oh yeah, we can play the Puerto Rican, Mexican angle. Is that really that impressive an angle to sell a fight? What, like Salvador Sanchez versus Wilfredo Gomez? Is that still relevant to the modern day boxing fan?
I'm not sure anymore.
And finally from me, before I let you go, Chris Eubank Jr., it's been announced today that he's signed with Boxer. I get it, we've got all of this collaborative working now. There was some mention, obviously, Eubank Jr. fighting Canelo. Canelo, I know, is a supporter of yourself, as you are of him. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we spoke, not myself, but Frank Smith had a couple of conversations with them.
Wouldn't he, yeah?
I don't know how they described it, a partnership rather than a promotional deal, so I'm not really sure what that partnership is, but he wanted 2 gimme fights quickly because he's been very inactive.
Correct.
We didn't want to give him those 2 gimme fights. We said we'll give you 1, but he wanted 2 sort of give me fights, you know, like easy fights. And I get it. And they just messaged us and said, look, we're going to do these 2 fights.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now you'll have to go to October Red's channel to listen to the whole of the interview. I don't want to hijack it and then basically steal her content. She's working hard. She's grinding hard. But basically, Eddie said that Frank Smith is still in contact with Boxer, and they're talking about making Eubank and Benn. But I think they want to keep it quiet. They don't want to be loud. They want to make sure Conor is cleared by UCAD, cleared by the board to fight in this country. Eubank is going to have a couple of gimme fights, tune-up fights. And I'm not sure if Eddie was saying that he could have signed Eubank, but Eddie was saying he'd give him 1 gimme fight and then we'll look at the Conor Benn fight. But he's gone over to, it sounds like a partnership
Than a fighter-promoter deal.
It sounds more like a partnership. And they're still looking to make that Conor Benn fight. I want to big up October Red for that. And that doesn't surprise me at all. That doesn't surprise me at all. Chris basically wanted to get from up under Cali and Nice, digging in to them profits when he makes that Conor Benn fight. Because what are they going to be doing? It's not going to be broadcast on Channel 5, Conor Benn versus Eubank. It's got to be on Sky and it's got to be on DAZN. They're going to share the platforms.
What Eddie, perhaps craftily, omitted from the interview is he wants Berlanga to fight Canelo.
And that's probably more workable in America than Eubank versus Canelo.
The strategy, in my opinion, Berlanga versus Canelo on DAZN, big. Eubank versus Conor on DAZN, whenever that can be made, big. But we'll see.
Boxing. Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.